So without any further ado, I welcome the first speaker of the proposition to open the case for review.
To buy one scholarly article from the respected, well-known journal Elsevier, you have to spend $31.50. Want to read it again? Buy it again. More than that, the average cost for a chemistry journal is now $4,000, and this is just an average chemistry journal. If you want something top of the line, you often have to pay up to 6 times as much. More than that, this is happening not in an age where these journals are important or necessary. This is happening just because it's been happening like this for so long. Universities have already started making moves towards disseminating this knowledge over the internet, such as the MIT open source program, the Stanford online software programming program, all of which have gained immense popularity, something that universities themselves cite frequently. That is why we believe that we need to change this, because it is grossly unfair both to those who are creating this knowledge and those who need to receive this knowledge to continue carrying out this. That said, we were going to talk to you mainly about 3 things. First of all, we believe that knowledge has no value if it isn't distributed publicly. Second of all, we feel that this skews the reward system in the academic and academic publishing arena. And thirdly, we feel that this is an archaic system that's going to collapse, in fact already has collapsed anyway. That said, let's understand what's going on. Academics publish articles or create lectures, which they then give for free to journals, which then charge, like I told you, $4,000 per edition for these. Is that in any way fair? More than that, what about the people who have to read these articles? It's all very good if you go to a nice university somewhere, but for all of those, billions of people who aren't fortunate enough to go to big universities, it costs a lot more than that, and you do not get to have it. Students can't research, professors can't advance that research, just because these journals have monopolized them, which is why we'll be banning this policy. First of all, we want to carry it out. We're going to carry it out by allowing the free distribution of these over the internet. Any cost for filming, which we frankly believe will be minimal, will be borne by the government. And if such costs are more than that, we don't feel it's going to be very great at all. That said, how are we going to organize these articles? Google is the world's largest system and has managed to organize literally every one of the websites on the internet by relevance. And we feel that their PageRank algorithm is going to be sufficient for doing the same thing. Let's talk to you about the first thing. What is the value of knowledge to us, ladies and gentlemen? Is it just something that's abstract and out there? Of course it's not. If I know something and sit on it, what is it achieving? Absolutely nothing. The whole idea of research, the whole idea of the academic system is to make something out of that knowledge. That knowledge is first researched and confirmed in scholarly articles and case studies. Then that knowledge is developed by innovators and companies into useful products. That's how it works. And we feel that when the cost of simply obtaining knowledge is so high, we cannot let it keep happening. That said, let's talk to you about how this skews the academic reward system. How is it in any way fair that a professor is basically compelled to give over his article to a journal because he wants it to be recognized clearly, because he wants it to be attested? For that purpose, he has to give it to a journal, and, nothing. He gets absolutely nothing in return. We feel that the internet can do that, ladies and gentlemen. What happens these days? You like something, lots of people like something, it goes viral. And we feel that the same can happen with journals if you just allow open access to be available. In fact, in a survey of Harvard professors, it was the 2,100 teaching and research staff called for action after warning it could no longer afford the price hikes imposed by many large journal publishers, which bill the library around $3.5 million a year. That said, let's move on to the third point. We feel that this is an archaic system that already has collapsed. Why did the publishing start in the first place? Started with the invention of the printing press, when you could potentially distribute articles much more freely, books much more freely than you could before. But it still wasn't all that easy. So what you would do is give it to a publisher who would handle the substantial cost of spreading it, having it reviewed by other people. This was due to geographical constraint and lack of technological advancement. What they did not account for was the internet. And now that the internet exists, you can do all of that for absolutely, well, not absolute, but nearly no cost at all. In fact, in a review in Nature, the foremost environmental magazine in the world, it believes that the cost for doing so would be less than $3 per article, which is as opposed to the $31 that is currently being charged. Since I've shown to you why it's important, why it's inherently unfair to those who are creating this knowledge, to those who need this knowledge, and simply for the fact that it's absolutely useless if it sits around getting dusty in some online or offline archive. Since I've shown to you that we simply cannot allow people to not have access to this knowledge, people who need it, people who are looking for medical research, patients who are dying, people who need to get their education, people who are trying to help out and improve our society, we simply cannot let this policy stand. Thank you.
We have 7 minutes left.
Okay, to make everything clear, first question is that what is your basic problem with the current status quo?
Our problem is that the people who need this research most simply aren't getting it. It's not okay to say that, well, just because the professors in Harvard, Princeton, and Yale have access to the research and the students have it, that it's okay. That's what? 0.001% of all the students in the world? All of these people need and deserve this knowledge.
Okay. But there are a huge amount of knowledge are available in the internet now.
No, most articles are still published by these journals because the professors who do it, and you see, there's no other way to gain accreditation. We feel that it can happen if enough articles are transferred onto the open access system, but we have to give it that kick. And it can't have that because, as it is, most of the scholarly articles are owned by these journals.
Okay, and do you have any idea what would happen if we make these academic works available to the general public? What would happen?
Well, enlighten me.
Any ideas? What would happen?
Well, we feel it's going to create a fairer system where more people have access to this knowledge. We feel that not only will more people have access to this knowledge, the biggest advantage is that it will advance further.
Okay, and it will attract people to the university.
Yes?
It will attract people to the university.
I don't see how that's relevant.
So there will be more people who attend university if these productions are available.
More people will attend university.
Yes, yes.
Well, I don't see so. But the problem isn't that. The problem is that people who are attending poorer universities simply aren't getting as much money. In fact, Harvard has a $30 billion endowment, a large part of which it uses on these articles, taxpayer money that is used to these professors who create this research and is then given to some random big journal repository that does not give back to the public. We feel that's a problem.
You spoke about available lectures. So do you expect that the professors will make something new time to time, to day, because the lectures that they're given are uploaded to the internet right after the lecture?
I didn't understand, I'm sorry.
So do you expect that the professor will make something new day to day because the lecture that he already given are uploaded to the internet right after?
Well, we feel
Happen.
that professors want this to happen. Why? Because when their lectures are uploaded, more people are going to want to listen to these people. You see, there's a difference. When you are able to interact with that professor, that's much greater. These video lectures will act as a taste of what this professor can give you. And that will attract more people to these professors, and you feel that that's why professors will want this to happen.
Okay, you have said that knowledge has no value when it isn't distributed.
Yes.
Right? So now knowledge has knowledge makes no sense because it isn't distributed now.
No, we feel that it's very limitedly distributed, which is slowing up the advancement of science, and that it should be speeded up.
Okay, and how could you discover medicine
Yes.
now? How could you discover any medicine if knowledge makes no sense?
So we feel that the distribution, while it is happening, is extremely limited, and it is happening in an elitist manner, and we feel that that should change.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I welcome the first speaker of the opposition to open the case for a negative.
Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, first I would like to begin with the rebuttal of all of their arguments, and then I would like to present our arguments. So it's really nice to say how the affirmative team tries to fool the jury and tries to fool us with these big numbers like $1 billion and $4,000 and so on. But if we check it in the detail, then we realize that $4,000 for a scientific journal. If one person needs a specific research, then they have to pay maximum $10 to buy the science magazine, and they get that specific research. Or we are talking about people who don't even go to universities. So they don't go to university, they have the basic high school knowledge. Why do they need to buy scientific journals? Come on, I want to learn something more, but I don't want to begin with the highest level. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so they also mentioned this MIT course and Harvard course already found on the internet. Yes, exactly, that's our point. You can learn if you want. There are pretty much lectures and pretty much course handbooks distributed on internet by Harvard, by MIT, the best universities all over the world. So in the status quo, you all have these chances. You can learn if you really want. Okay, that was their first argument. Second argument, that when we sit on knowledge, nothing comes out. Really? Really? Do you really think it? So now we sit on knowledge and nothing comes out? Yeah, so just tell you something. So in the last 10 years, millions medicines were invented. So is it nothing? Do you consider medicines and a lot of inventions nothing? Really? That's pretty interesting. The third point, it's pretty important to mention that you upload it to internet, right? You mentioned that. Actually, I have to tell you that according to research, and it can be found on the database as well, 30% of people has internet connection, 30%. And then most of them who has that internet connection going to universities. So what is the target group of your method, of your system? Who are the target groups if only 30% of people go to universities? Yeah, and I'm sorry, has an internet connection. And you also mentioned at the end that people who are dying, and how is it relevant? I mean, yeah, people dying, but if research is uploaded, they can't produce their own medicine. They can't do anything with this research. Yeah, so I just don't understand this whole thing. and yeah, and the tax. So it's pretty nice to say that, okay, people pay a lot of tax and then so on, they have to right to get back what they are paying for. But come on, I'm in Hungary. Right now, I'm paying the tax to the Hungarian government. Why should I get the latest research from Harvard University from the USA? It just doesn't make sense. I pay my tax to Hungary. Hungary pays part of my taxes to the Hungarian universities. But if we upload, or if Harvard University uploads something to the internet, then in Hungary, I can achieve it. And come on, I didn't pay anything for it. And now our own arguments. So, yes, first, there is already a great variety of online courses. There are totally free online universities. uopeople.org is the website. And the lectures from MIT and from Harvard, edx.org is the website. There are pretty much scholarships, so equal chances are secured. And there are countries in the world, Austria and Norwegia, where the attending university is totally free. Professors, second point, professors get less money. And why? Because lectures are uploaded to YouTube. Obviously, students demand professors to say something different or to enhance their aspects. But professors can do it, they just don't have time to enhance the aspect and to develop their lecture from one day to another. And because of the fact that the lecture is uploaded to YouTube, and people demanding professors to say something new, people wouldn't go to universities, they just check the lectures on YouTube. So professors would get less business, would be invited less times to universities to hold lectures, and consequently they would get less money. Okay, so less incentive for research. People can't earn money with research. Come on, we have to upload it to internet. No one will pay for it. They're not fool. They can find it in the internet. So what I'm getting at is that you can't earn money. It's just not possible. And in a business where there is no money gain, the standard of that business is plunging. So what I'm getting at is standard of education and standard of research because of the already mentioned fact. So no money. There is no money in research because everything is uploaded to internet and you can download it for free. The standard of education and standard of research will plunge. And false arguments, there are two types of people. So there's a type of people who can understand all the things that are in scholarly articles without help, without questioning anybody. But come on, then they are pretty much clever. They just read a university book and they understand everything. If they went to university and asked for a scholarship, they would get it. And the other type of people won't understand anything from these scholarly articles. And then there is no need to give them the right to give them these scholarly articles because they simply won't understand anything. So one type will understand anything, but they are so clever they would get a scholarship anyway, and the other type won't understand anything without asking questions, but there is no professor or no consultant next to her or him whom he could ask questions. So there again, there is no sense. What you're proposing makes no sense. And the fifth point is degree inflation. So so there are many people who can read these articles and they say, oh my god, I can read this article or read this whole book in 2 days. So why did you go to university for 5 years? Oh my god, you're so stupid, I could read it in 2 days. So again, we brought up 5 arguments and rebutted all the arguments of the opponent team. So yes, I would like to thank you very much now.
You have 7 minutes left.
Access to information related to access available to research and scientific development. I know information things to keep compliance में research होती है कहाँ बस ये क्वेश्चन भी देख रहे हैं कि बताओ टारगेटिंग होगा कुछ कैसे ऑर्डर करते हैं एक्चुअली ऑपरेशन ऑर्डर विल फॉर डू इट एक प्रेस्टीज भी करना हम सब करेंगे इसी के
Have 6 minutes left.
थैंक यू हेलो
Hello.
Sir, do you understand how these research journals actually work in terms of whether or not they distribute all of these articles? Do research journals always distribute all articles?
So what is the question? Do I understand how
Okay,
these
do
journals work?
yes
what's
or
the
no?
question?
Do yes or no? Do these journals distribute all of the work that they produce, or all of the work that they gather?
Well, partly yes, partly not. So I mean, there is a chance. So all the people can buy for £10 or $10 or whatever. Then when they need a specific research, then they will buy Science magazine, and Science magazine can be bought all over the world.
Sir,
So yes, they distribute it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, do you think that these professors who go to esteemed universities actually put out all of their work for all of their lives for a £2 magazine named Science Weekly? Do you actually think that can happen? That everything that you may acquire from an academic journal, which gets information from the most esteemed and profound professors around the world?
Yeah, so let me tell you something. Professors are willing to pay from $2,000 to $3,000 just to have the right to publish something in Science magazine because it's so well known. So they pay for it. It's not something that they don't want to publish all of that. They are happy to publish. They even pay for it because it has such a big reputation.
Okay, firstly, I don't think that's true. That's a complete lie. Secondly,
I can tell you the source where we get
you can
this.
put that in your speech. Thank you. But secondly, do you not believe that education on such a high level is actually important for these children in universities or so on and so forth when it comes to them using this profound research from other esteemed professors?
So you have just gone. So I think it's our argument because you just said this higher level of education is not relevant to those children.
No,
or
we're saying that
something.
it is
we think
very.
so.
We think it is very relevant, and we feel if you think it is also relevant, then by putting it out for everybody to access, you're actually conceding to our entire case by saying
Okay,
that
so what's
yes,
the question?
I'm
Because
saying,
it's the question section. Just to remind you.
Oh, thanks. Acha. So I will ask you a question now. You say YouTube having lectures is perfect, right?
Having lectures.
Yeah, lectures
Well, a
upload
lot
is
of
perfect,
people
right?
don't really go to lectures.
So
and
you're
they-
conceding that open access is a good thing.
No, I don't consider. Obviously, I don't consider open access a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, so at one hand you're saying that more access to people is a good thing. On the
I
second,
never said that.
so you're
actually.
saying people should not be given education and that education should be
I
withheld?
never said that.
Then what are you saying, sir?
I've just said my speech, and in my speech,
Okay, then
I
this
said
is
many things.
I
you
would like
see.
to remind you this is a question session, so please answer my question.
Okay, so
what
what
are
was
you
your
saying?
question? Because what did you say?
Are you saying
I said already a lot of things.
Thank you.
So.
Is education important or not?
Education is important, of course.
Oh, of course. So if you have a very good sort of
Okay,
a,
thanks. Time is up.
Now welcome the second speaker of your opposition powers to conclude the case in the account.
This is what team opposition started with, ladies and gentlemen. They said already you have universities like Harvard, like MIT, who are providing their online courses. We cited examples for this. We said yes, the Harvard University has said it is in fact orders its faculty members to make their research freely available to the open public, as stated by The Guardian on Sunday, the 15th of July 2012. The fact that we're trying to state over here is, ladies and gentlemen, that these universities that you're talking about themselves recognize the importance of an open access model and actually want to move towards open access. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, pointing out the fact that it is something the right move to go for, and now it's appreciated by everyone. So the fact that universities don't want this or people don't want this in the first place is something that does not stand. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the quote positive against the team opposition had. They said, well, professors get less money. The reason why they get less money is because they don't get paid for these journals. We told you, ladies and gentlemen, that professors already don't get paid for journals. The model that we explained to you very clearly in Asad's speech, ladies and gentlemen, was this. Professors or universities create these material through endowments or payments made by usually the government. Then this material is handed over to journals. The main incentive that professors have within this is prestige, ladies and gentlemen, how they want to make more fame. That's the most important goal for them. So the argument about them making less money does not stand. In fact, as in the cross questioning the first speaker said, professors are willing to give 2,000-3,000 rupees just to have their 2 articles published in the journal. So in their model, professors actually have to pay money to get their journals published. In our models, it is actually no money that they have to give. So if anything, professors have more incentive in our model. It is less expensive for professors in our model. Secondly, let's talk about the incentive part. They said, well, the standard will fall because professors will have no incentive. We talked to you about, ladies and gentlemen, that the problem with researchers today is that researchers don't exist only in these top tier universities. There are researchers, ladies and gentlemen, all around the world. The problem that existed within the current system was that these people did not have access to research. These innovators were deprived of these research. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, the incentive and the research coming up is very, very less, is not proportional, ladies and gentlemen. Which is why when you provide open access, what you're providing people with, ladies and gentlemen, is more knowledge, is more insight, is more analysis. That, we believe, ladies and gentlemen, leads to the incentive for more innovation, leads to the incentive for more research. With that, now let's move back to the things which they never really refuted, which was pretty much our entire case. So first things first, ladies and gentlemen, why is knowledge important? We never said, ladies and gentlemen, that knowledge had no value or it was worthless. What we started and we stood by from the very beginning was, ladies and gentlemen, that knowledge in isolation has no value. Knowledge by its inherent nature was meant to be shared, ladies and gentlemen. It's sharing that gives knowledge its value. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, the primary purpose of these researchers in the first place is never to make money. It is always prestige. Why? Because they realize that sharing this very article with people, that providing the public with access will provide them with that very prestige that they're looking for. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, we told you, ladies and gentlemen, that your model right now is flawed. We told you that your academia currently does not reward talent or hard work. What it rewards, ladies and gentlemen, is money. The problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, is that is what disincentivizes researchers. Because I'm studying from a poor university in Pakistan while a Harvard graduate has access to the best research, ladies and gentlemen, means it's not because he's more talented, it's not because he's more hardworking, it's simply because he has more money, ladies and gentlemen, money which is charged by these journals simply because they believe in this flawed system. Which is why knowledge will never have value, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, by providing knowledge in an open access model, it gains value. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, we talked to you about how the problem that existed was that professors, it is unfair to professors even, because professors give their findings to the journal, and what ends up happening is they get nothing out of it. In our model, ladies and gentlemen, we're even incentivizing researchers who do not exist in these top tier universities, who are in poorer universities, whose articles simply don't get published because these journals will not make money out of them. In an open access model, that will not happen. Why? Because as we talk to you about the Google page rank algorithm, what it basically does is it does two things. Firstly, it ranks your page by the number of citations it has, and secondly, it ranks this page by who cites you. So if a very good academic, a literary person is citing your article, it gains more value. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, why the collapse of your system is important. The collapse of the system is important, ladies and gentlemen, is because journals are doing minimal work and are gaining the most benefit out of it. We had two aims that we wanted to promote from the very beginning. A, we wanted to promote fairness. B, we wanted to promote quality. We are promoting fairness, ladies and gentlemen, because poorer universities are more incentivized. Richer universities cannot live off this expertise. We are increasing fairness, ladies and gentlemen. We're increasing quality because we're giving people access to knowledge. Thank you.
Thank the speaker for his minutes left. We have 4 minutes left. Oh, 3 minutes left.
Okay, sir. So you want to give people the right to check lectures online, to
Yes.
see lectures. Yes. Harvard University already uploaded some lectures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So isn't the right given then?
That's exactly what we're saying. You need to extend that right to everyone so that everyone has access to this. So not only Harvard University, universities like Yale, universities like Stanford should also do this. And as you yourself are saying, it is good. Then what's the problem?
And isn't it enough for people just to check one university's, the best university's lectures? So if I'm, do you want to check all the lectures of all the universities as a people?
We believe,
as
ladies
a
and
person?
gentlemen, that knowledge is never enough. So the more you have knowledge, the more is better for you. So
And
even
do you have
poor-
capacity to check on all the lectures from all the universities? So why isn't Harvard's lectures enough?
So simply because you don't have the capacity to access them, you shouldn't have access to them. Is according to that logic, people shouldn't have food because they can't digest all of it.
Okay, so when you can see something online, do you want to go far away to see the same thing? When you can see something online on YouTube, do you want to go far away to see the same thing?
That's the entire point. Prospective students, when they find out how good a Harvard lecture is, will want to go there even more than they want to right now. And those
I'm
who
sorry,
come-
so you might have not understood my question. So when you can see something online,
Yeah.
Staying at your comfortable bed, would you like to go out, walk 5 kilometers and see the same thing?
if you want to have a life which is with a degree, with a job, then most people, we believe, which most rational individuals are, then yes, you would want to.
You would want to. Okay, so yeah. Well, it's up to you. So where can you get money for other researches when you don't get paid for the previous one?
What?
From where can you get money, investment for other researches
Okay,
when you didn't even get paid for the previous
Let's
research?
understand this. These researchers, the people that we're talking about, they get paid by universities to do this research in the first place. They get research on the quality of their work, which is determined by the prestige of their work, which is determined by the open access model, which we believe, which is determined by the peer-reviewed system that Google has. So,
Okay, so from which source do they get money if they upload it to net? It's
The-
free, isn't it?
the universities
You wanna
pay-
charge them who download them?
The universities charge them or pay them, for teaching in universities and giving these lectures because it adds to their prestige, it adds to their quality, it adds to the entire environment and package and facilities that they're providing.
So you would pay a research even if it can be downloaded freely from the net.
Someone has to do that research in order for you to download
Of
that.
course someone has to do that, but if there is no financial gain, then who would like to do that?
For whom is there no financial gain? The researchers get paid by universities, so who's not gaining through our
And from
money?
where does the money come? Because till this point they get a lot of money. From this point on they won't get any money. So where does the money come? Additional money.
From endowments, from fees, and the financial system that universities usually have. I'm sure this one has a pretty good one too. Thank you.
Sorry, you lost something.
Thank you so much.
You have 2 minutes left. De ezt én mondom, igen.
Ezt nem mondom, persze, hogy ilyen.
You have 1 minute left, akkor ezt úgy lehet, hogy van.
Ezt az enyém.
Ez melyikhez? Úgy van, igen.
Szóval, they won't get
És akkor ugyanaz a professzor megnézte, ugye?
Igen, professzor csak magyarázta, akkor prestige is nice, but you need money to get into other researches. Szóval azt mondta, hogy prestige, ez nagyon fontos, prestige, but you need money to upload the prestige, hogy
Now I welcome the second speaker of the opposition to continue the case for the negative side.
So ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to talk about 6 things. 4 of them are going to be rebuttals and 2 of them are going to continue our case, and I'm going to develop our arguments. So firstly, they assume that if the MIT and the Harvard courses are just not enough. We think that these are already done, and and it is actually quite the same to what is happening in the university. So we think that it is enough for them, and people who are really interested in are going to get into the university, and people who are who are not, it is enough for them to get the free courses, which the best universities already make public. Secondly, they mentioned the incentive. We think that the incentive is about 2 things. First, it is about prestige, that as you have mentioned, that the university professors do their work because of prestige. They want to be more famous, and they want to make the people to know what they are doing. But secondly, and sadly, they also need the income. We think that they need money to do the research. They can only contribute and do more researches if they have the money to develop their thoughts and to just develop themselves and then contribute to society and their own university. We think that it is a huge part, and it is just as big as the prestige, and it is just as a big part of the incentive which you are talking about. Thirdly, we think that knowledge in isolation is still have value, and it has a huge value. We think that it should be protected because it is valuable. And what we think is that people who are in poor situations, and if they are clever enough and if they are smart enough, they are going to be able to go to university. And as our first speaker already mentioned, there are countries where they offer free tuition fees to the universities, such as Austria. Our 4th point would be that this is already our case, because it is connected to the 5th point. But why we think that it is enough what we get in the university? We think that there are 2 types of people here. So first, who we would discriminate in this way is the people who are in poor situation in a far country and who wish to go and study in the university. We think that those people, if they try hard enough, and if they just read the articles which are already there, and if they use the Harvard and MIT courses which are already available, they can go to America and the United States, and they can study in Harvard afterwards because they already have several certificates and they already have the knowledge. We think this is a basis which they should have first, and only after that can they go to the university. Because we don't think that people can just jump into university articles from one point to another. And my 6th point, and the point that we didn't hear an answer to, is that why we think that it would lead to a negative shift in society, and why we think that it would lead to the inflation of the degrees. We think that many people will know who see the publicly available courses and lectures will no longer be able to make a difference between actually doing a degree in a university and just reading some articles in the internet. We think that it is absolutely different if someone goes to a university and participates in lectures and they can ask questions from the professor. And we think that people in the society who always just read articles from the internet will assume that they are equal or they are better than university students. We don't think that it is the case. We think that university students have studied a lot. They put their work into university studying, and they studied for several years. And it cannot be equal to knowledge distributing, which is already here in MIT courses and Harvard courses. So we think that because it is enough what is already offered on the internet, and because we think that professors would not benefit from this case, we beg you to oppose.
And Madam Court.
Okay.
Please.
You say that some university lectures, such as Harvard and MIT courses, are published online. You
Yes.
feel this is a good thing.
We think that that's a good thing.
So why not continue it? Why not
Yeah, because
extend
we
it?
think that they are not making all of their academic work available because they need some profit from it, but they are making it public, so people can start can have a start, and after that they can go to the
Okay.
university
So tell me, why do people go to universities in the first place?
to educate themselves
Is your
and to
education
get a degree. Yeah.
to get a degree? So does your degree and your education involve just lectures?
No, it's not just lectures. It involves the asking of the professors. It involves and it involves participating in lectures and talking to the other people who are in the university.
Will people still want to do this after lectures are online?
Yeah, and not and they
But
are,
answer the question. Will
yeah.
people still want to do this after they get lectures online?
And this is what I wanted to say, that if people see the information online, they will assume that they don't need to go to university, and they think that is bad.
Why would they assume that?
Because there are people who will see they have the courses, they have the recorded lectures on the
So
internet.
you think that people will see absolutely no value in going to university, when clearly you seem to think that there is other value in university aside from the lectures,
No,
the interactive.
we think that there are going to be a minority who is still going to the university.
People are going to
but-
stop
but
wanting to
there-
have the facility of all the facilities offered by Harvard, such as the vast collection of scholarly articles, the sports facilities, the fact that a Harvard degree is important. You think people will forget all of this just because they now have Harvard lectures?
There might be some, and we think that would be a majority because people are easily manipulated in this way by their own.
You think people will stop wanting degrees because
they are going to stop wanting degrees because they have better things to do, and they think that it is enough what is on the internet. So they are going to be a majority
So
who will
in-
not benefit from this.
So how are you going to have any sort of organization without degrees?
How do you mean that any sort of, or what kind, what do you mean by
How
this?
do you organize, how do you say that certain people are better than others without degrees? That's the point you're trying to make, isn't it?
So certain people are,
So you're saying that people will stop wanting to go to universities, then degrees will become the same as everything else. Right, that does make a lot of sense. Thank you. Now, tell me, how many people in the world live in countries where there's free university education?
I don't have a fact for that.
Do you have any idea?
Well,
India and China, the world's two largest countries by population, do not have free universities. The United States of America, which is number 4 by population, I believe, does
Well,
not.
unfortunately, I don't have a fact for that, so I don't want to assume things here.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
You have 5.5 minutes, so I will just tell you when the time has elapsed.
government and already जो entitlement और fees वगैरह मतलब बोला और ये मसला कि जर्नल इसके बाद हम आते हैं how much time is that?
You still have 5 minutes. Sorry, 3 minutes. अच्छा बात है बस दो तीन Maybe we should all just quiet down.
They just don't want any
And now I welcome the last speaker of the proposition to close the case and give her a time.
When I first came here into the University of Galway, I had no idea until this debate that this was just one big magazine store. That all of the students here didn't need any articles, don't need any lectures because everything is already present. So what are we doing in this university, or what are these students doing in these universities? We told you how exactly degrees still matter, ladies and gentlemen. We told you how facilities still matter, ladies and gentlemen. We told you how exactly if you need a job and do not need to end up homeless, you will need the degree and hence you will need to go to a university. Hence defeating the entire claim they made about how students by the end of the day will not be going to universities. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, side negative today, ladies and gentlemen, told us how exactly knowledge is valuable, hence should be contained, but proved to us no potential harm with YouTube videos of lectures being uploaded. In fact, they were all in favor to them. So then we asked them a simple question. Why won't you extend this policy to other such universities apart from MIT and Harvard, such as universities as Princeton, Yale, UPenn, so on, ladies and gentlemen, to that which they need to still answer as to how this is not a principal concession to our entire case. Now, what was our policy essentially, ladies and gentlemen? Our policy was simple. We told you how exactly open access needs to be there because, well, A, these articles are overpriced and we give you proper statistics with citations for it. B, we told you how exactly a paywall exists. If you read an article once, you'll have to, and you will pay for it. If you read it again, you'll pay for it again. We told you about the peer review system on Google and how that will work. We told you how exactly universities hire researchers, ladies and gentlemen, and there is money given by the government to these researchers, so they will continue to research. We told you how exactly research is produced and it is only distributed by journals but not made or done any effort by them. So all of the profit by the end of the day is maximized and made by these journals, but none for the researchers, and this was the problem we had with today's debate. Did Tate and Hungary do anything about it? No, they did not, ladies and gentlemen. Hence, the entire policy and principle which we brought to you today still stands. We brought to you benefits. We told you how there will be widespread information, how there will be quality improved, and how there will be fairness, ladies and gentlemen, within the system once you implement our policy. None of these benefits were in contention with any harms that were missing from Team Hungary's case. Hence, till now, the debate goes to us. But furthermore, I will talk to you about three things essentially. I'll talk to you about a few things. Firstly, will research plunge or will it get better or will it be more outspread? Here's where I told you how exactly researchers aren't paid in the status quo at all, and these journals make all of the profit themselves. Under our model, all researchers can now make any sort of research and upload it. With more availability of research, quality, and the quality will actually grow by the end of the day, and that these will be better off and will be more, because we told you how knowledge isn't good on its own, how it needs to be collectivized and worked on by a large number of people, and this is what the open access system does. Our alternatives about magazines, ladies and gentlemen, exactly the problem. $2,000 just to get your article onto a magazine as compared to uploading it, and if it's good, being seen by a lot of people for potentially free or even being paid by Google, ladies and gentlemen, which does not happen in the status quo under these journals. Further, we told you how exactly these people will continue to get money from universities. Now, where do universities get money from? Which was a question brought up in the cross-examination, ladies and gentlemen. We told you how exactly their endowments, how they actually freeze, and how their charity works, ladies and gentlemen, which make these universities by the end of the day have some sort of money. We told you about the peer review system, ladies and gentlemen, how the idea is that Google still has that peer review system and other people can review it, and by the end of the day have a better off system for better quality. We told you how exactly it will remain the same, ladies and gentlemen. The quality will remain the same. In fact, it will improve, but by the end of the day, the only change that is coming is that it will be more widespread and it will be to more people, ladies and gentlemen, as knowledge is valuable, which was never contested, and should be widespread to a large number of people, never contested. Now, ladies and gentlemen, will more people have access to knowledge? We told you how exactly there is a divide between students who go to poor universities as compared to rich universities, and how this 30% which they're talking about, which have access to internet, we're saying that even that 30% should be turned into a 60, into a 70 to all people who go to universities, a uniform policy for all information being there. And even if you don't go to university, ladies and gentlemen, if you're graduated and if you work and you want to read an article by XYZ professor, you should be given the availability to do so. Lastly, will researchers be disincentivized? We told you how exactly money will still be given to them. They will be given by the government, which is clearly stated in our policy. If not the government, the universities will still pay these professors like they do in the status quo. So what is the essential change, to sum up my debate, that we are bringing? The change that we are bringing, ladies and gentlemen, is this. These publishers in the status quo overprice articles and do not let all of the students access them. They overprice articles and make sure that the profit stays with them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, articles will be widespread and the whole idea of a profit being overpriced will not exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for this speech. And now welcome the third Speaker of the Opposition House to close the case on the negative side.
Okay, as a third speaker of my team, let me to sum up everything what happened, and let me to show you why your team was way better than the opponent team. Okay, I would like to start with the clashes. The two main clashes came to surface in the first and the second arguments of the opponent team. At the beginning of the debate, you showed us ridiculously high numbers, but it is simply untrue because there are a lot of magazines, cheap magazines, which provide the basic knowledge for the humans, and we need. Then, the second, you said that sitting in the knowledge make no sense. It has no value. No. So in the past few decades, the human community didn't achieve anything. I don't think it is true. So I really don't understand what you mean. Then the main clash of this debate is that the great variety of the books that are already given to the people. The MIT and the Harvard provides the best course books that you can get in this world. And it is completely enough. If I have a brand new mobile, I won't change it because it is the best. If I have the best course books, I don't need more because it is completely enough for me, and I don't even have capacity to more knowledge. I am a human. I'm not a machine. I have no capacity. Then the last clash point was the professor's money. Prestige can be held without money. So professors need money. You said that they don't need money. Oh, I don't want to be a professor because it is real bad. And they force the professors to make something new day to day because their lectures are uploaded to the internet right after that they given to us. So you can't force the professors because they are humans and not the machines. So let's back to your arguments. I feel that you aim a really small group of people because only 30% people has internet connection. So it is not worth to destroy the whole university economy for this small amount of people. Then you spoke about the poor taxpayers. Should I have access to the American scientist research as a Hungarian taxpayer? I pay my taxes to the Hungarian government, so I have no right to access to these researches. So it is really unfair to the whole human community. Then, if I realize that you don't really react to a third, fourth, and fifth arguments, so I would like to repeat it, and it means that you accept our standpoint, and the third argument was there is no money for education if we make these academic works available because in that way universities we have no income, and in that way we destroy their economy. Then the fourth arguments we gave them an example of the type of the people. There are smart people who understand everything, and they simply don't need money because they can get the scholarship. Then there are other type of people who don't really understand anything, so they don't need these academic works because they simply don't understand it. Then the fifth arguments are also really important. It is decreasing the amount of degree. In that way, people who already have a diploma, we don't appreciate them as far as they remember. Okay. Then let me to show you why our team was way better than the opponent team. What you guys just did give the knowledge for only a few amount of people where the knowledge is already available for them, and in that way destroy the whole economy of the university. And what OR did is just we gave them 5 arguments and proved that completely why it is a stupid step to make this available, why it is an unnecessary step. And I also have to expound that you don't react to the third, fourth, and the fifth arguments, and it means that you accept your standpoint. To make the final conclusion, we are still strongly urged that universities shouldn't make all academic work that they produce available to the general public because they are enough knowledge for the human community. Thank you.
Thank the speaker for his speech. also thank the debaters for the fine debate. As you know, it's a closed education round, so you won't be getting the result or feedback, but after the break is announced, you're more than welcome to approach any of us at any time and ask for feedback. So now,